right, guys, so it's been over 1 year now that I've owned my Bugatti Chiron, and one of the biggest questions I get is, what does it feel like to own a Chiron for a year? What does it really cost, and should I be buying one? Is it a worthwhile investment? So today I decided we're gonna go for a little drive in the Chiron, because I don't think we've done enough videos with this car. And we're gonna talk a little bit about the experience of owning a Chiron for a year, what you should expect, what you shouldn't, and so on and so forth. So I was very lucky to buy this car when it was still under factory warranty at the time I bought it, which meant that its services were also included. And so for me so far, the ownership experience has been pretty good, especially driving over 1,000 miles, which is a lot of miles if you account for a Chiron, in just 1 year. So I did take this car out a couple of times. I've enjoyed it, and it's quite an experience, honestly. And we're gonna start with, really, what does it feel like to drive a Chiron? And the answer, simply put, is it's pretty different. So the first thing you would expect is this is a full-out race car and so on and so forth, and you couldn't be more wrong. This actually feels very much like a brand new Bentley GT. It's very comfortable. While the seats aren't comfortable as long as a Bentley GT, the actual design, the feeling, the amount of room, very, very similar to a Bentley GT. And the feel of the drive, unless you're really getting on it, also very similar to a Bentley GT. So my argument has always been this next to the Bentley GT look like two different shells on the same exact car. And that's one of the reasons I actually really, really adore this car. I adore this car because it can be driven like a normal car. You can go to dinner with it. It can be enjoyable, and it attracts attention everywhere, and good attention too. It's not like a Ferrari or Lamborghini. It's like literally respect, awe, and excitement by people who have never seen something this crazy. So they really like it, and it speaks wonder for the car itself, which is why I really think, to me, it really screams hypercar, because everyone and their cousin takes a photo of it. Everyone and their cousin wants to be near it, wants to understand what it is. They want to follow it. So it really has that classification down so well, and it's so recognizable, even more than a Pagani, more than a Koenigsegg, because the average people know this is crazy. This is next level. And this is what you want in a hypercar. And I think one of the reasons why I adore this car is it's not just attention, it's the right attention, it's exciting. And listen to this. It's crazy, like I'm barely tapping it and you hear these motor, like jet engines turn on. And the number one most incredible thing about this car, you ready for this? The noise. It's not about the exhaust, it's the noise from the turbos. It is just insane, it's exciting, and you feel the pull when you gun it in a way that even Reggie here almost had a heart attack with 20% throttle, which is incredible. Like with the SF90 and some of these really fast cars, you feel it instantly. With this car, the build-up and the excitement really brings in the experience really well. And that's one of the reasons why I adore this car, generally speaking. Now, before I continue, just a quick few words from one of our sponsors here, Grailsy. Everyone knows me as this car guy. I'm a big car collector. I love cars, and more importantly, they know me for making good decisions, gaining in and out of cars in order to maximize my return. But what if I told you that one of the ways I was able to buy all these cars has been by trading watches? But I'm not here to tell you about my other company, Watch Trading Academy. Instead, I'm here to tell you about a question I get asked at Watch Trading Academy a lot, which is, how do you sell watches confidently and, more importantly, in a safe manner online? Simply put, I use this company called Grailsy. It is a safe and very transparent way to sell a watch online. Not only do they handle the whole transaction from A to Z, but they make it safe for both the buyer and the seller. And because they really cater to real buyers and not just other watch traders, as a seller, you're always getting a great premium on a watch, especially when you're selling it. And as a buyer, you never know when you can find a great deal. So definitely check them out at grailsy.com. They're an incredible company, and they've been the best place to safely buy and sell luxury watches. So let's talk a little bit about maintenance costs, because this is the biggest misconception with the Chiron, is what does it cost to insure? What does it cost to actually own? And more importantly, like, how terrible is maintenance? So let's cover the very big basics. How much does it actually cost to own a Chiron? Well, simply put, you should easily be able to break even, or at least drive for free, for at least a year using the ECH principle. So yes, it makes the Chiron very much hackable, but you have to be patient when selling the cars, because there aren't that many buyers for $3 million cars coming in and out every single minute. So that's step one. The second thing that's the most asked about thing is, what about the insurance? It's going to be tens of thousands of dollars. So I pay roughly about $7,000 a year, which I think is very reasonable. It's about $500 a month to insure this car as part of a collection. Now, previously, when it wasn't part of a collection type insurance model and it was part of just a regular insurance model like State Farm, I was paying $9,000 every 6 months. So to give you context, that's about $18,000 a year. Still very reasonable if you ask me. It's about $1,500 a month for a little bit less. And that was worst case scenario because it had gone up from $7,000 just because they had crazy insurance increases. That's why I moved over to Haggerty for the particular Chiron itself. So still, not something completely unaffordable, but nonetheless very expensive on regular insurance, very affordable on collectible insurance. So again, not really a deterrent for someone buying a $3 million car. Now let's talk about the next thing. What about oil services? So I was very lucky to have the services included. So I had the $50,000 service done at Bugatti's cost, which was fantastic, and basically cost me absolutely nothing, which was the major service. Regular oil changes are about $10,000, about $8,000 or so, and they take about a week and a half to 2 weeks to complete. And it's a pretty cool and easy process once a year. I still don't think it's anything significant based on the price of the car. Very different from what you would expect from the Veyron, which was much more expensive. Now, in addition to that, Veyron tires were 25 to 40 grand, depending on where you got them from, and required you to get new wheels and everything at a time. With the Chiron, the actual OEM tires are $10,000 and can be bought as a set pretty easily, can be replaced every 2 years. Not that big of a deal, if you ask me, compared to what you would take, because realistically, the same variant of an SVJ tire is about $3,000, and it's actually what's on this car now because I run it with a set of aftermarket wheels. So one of the tricks to owning a Chiron that I think is so important that a lot of people miss is you buy brand new tires, you put them away basically, and you put the car on a set of SVJ tires, which are ultimately the same size, and you put a set of aftermarket wheels. Here's why you want to do that. The factory wheels option was $62,000. The HRE wheels on this car are $10,000. But more importantly, the reason why I put SVJ tires is because what are the odds that I'm going to do 300-mile runs right here? So I don't need tires rated to 300 miles an hour. What I do need, however, are tires that can sustain a nail pop or an issue for driving on the street, and that ultimately are going to be able to be replaced one at a time rather than having to replace all four. So this is the reason why you want to put a set of $3,000 tires, so when you have a problem like a nail in a tire or something occurs, it's only going to cost you very minimal money. This is the key, and this is the most important aspect of this game, right? Is to ensure that it doesn't end up costing you tens of thousands of dollars for something stupid or something minimal that you could have just avoided. And so these are really the ownership costs of the car. And so finally, would I buy a Chiron again? So I intend to sell this car and now buy a Chiron Pure Sport, which is the next wave up, like the race model of the variant. Is it really necessary? In my opinion, not at all. I think this car is just enough the way it is. I think it's fantastic. And while I think the Chiron Pure Sport looks better inside with better materials and excitement, I don't necessarily know that it's worth the price tag. So the way I'm going to basically play it for Exotic Car Hacks is I'm going to try to sell this at more money than I paid, buying down the Pure Sport and being able to buy that at another hackable price. So all of this together basically puts us in an opportunity to own the Chiron at very, very minimal dollar for the year. Even if it costs you $30,000 for 1 year, assuming you made no money on the car itself, I would argue that paying $2,500 to $3,000 a month to drive a $3.5 million car is a pretty good hack. And so that has been the conclusion of how the Chiron works. And again, if you are someone that has been in the market for a car, didn't think you could afford an exotic car, or ultimately want to stop losing money on cars, click the link in the description and learn how to actually hack cars. This is the new, better way to get in and out of exotic cars. It is not a membership club, and it is certainly not a long-term lease or anything else. It is a strategy we developed that has helped over 22,000 people get their car of their dreams without losing any money. So learn that in there, and of course, try to join Exotic Car Hacks. But more than anything else, leave me a comment and tell me what you think. How has been my Chiron experience through the year? Do you think I bought the right color, the right car, and do you think I'll break even, or will I lose money? I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments. Make sure you like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and I will catch you next time for Exotic Car Hacks.